Hello there, and today we're doing a match preview for Watford versus Barnsley. It is the game tonight that kicks off at 7:45 at Vicarage Road, and it's a big one for the Golden Boys. We need to really get our second win on the bounce, get that momentum, and hopefully shoot up that table. We've got obviously a game in hand over some of our rivals, with that Millwall game getting played on the 26th, I do believe. But it's still a very big game, and we have to basically just get the job done like we did against Huddersfield. We've got to do it again against Barnsley and really just go at this game and really don't give Barnsley any room, especially on the edge of the box, because we know that some of their players can score long-range efforts. Very unlucky to not score an absolute screamer in the game against Swansea. Very good save in that game from Freddie Woodman. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, but we will see how it pans out on Hive Live, of course. And we're going to, in today's video, go through my predicted lineup, well, or at least my preferred lineup. The referee for the game is going to be, of course, Robinson, Tim Robinson, I should say. But we're also going to go through the goal scorers that I will think will be in this game, the score prediction, and what is the head-to-head record between Barnsley Town and Watford FC. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm hoping for a good game, and I'm obviously hoping once again for a Watford win. But we're going to start off with my preferred lineup. This is what I'm hoping we will be looking like. We know that Ben Foster unfortunately cannot be in the squad because of an injured finger. He kind of pulled some ligament in his finger and pulled some, basically it's basically broken, but he has to rest on it. It was an injury sustained in the game against Rotherham ages ago, and he's been playing through it for about 5 weeks. He needs to rest it and needs to basically wait until it can properly heal and properly sort itself out, and then hopefully should be back in a few weeks' time. So that does present an opportunity for Daniel Bachmann, and hopefully he will take that opportunity with both hands and really use it to his potential. We know he's a good goalkeeper, Bachmann, and in the Cup he was brilliant against Manchester United, made some really, really good saves, and looked really, really solid and confident against Huddersfield. Didn't have a lot to do, but when he did, he really did look confident, and he just got the job done. Looked like a player who's feeling confident and feeling good about his game. So that's really good to see. But what we will do now is just have a little look at the head-to-head record between these two teams. Now, of course, in the reverse fixture, before I give my predicted lineup, in the reverse fixture, it did, of course, end Barnsley Town 1, Watford 0, with the goal, absolute screamer, it's got to be said, coming from Alex Mowat. Now, obviously, Barnsley, since then, haven't been in the best of form, but they're still a good team. They still are, maybe you'd say punching a little bit above their weight, because they don't have the money that maybe we have from recently being in the Premier League. They haven't been in the Premier League for so long, but they're still a decent team that can upset some teams. So they're definitely not one to be underestimated. But games won for Watford against Barnsley, 21. Games lost, 21. So it doesn't look too good in that aspect. But that's taking all the way back since like 1911 in all competitions. When you're talking just about the Championship, though, I think we've got quite a good record against them. And our last, if I can just sort this out, yeah. So our last appearance obviously was 1-0, but before that we beat them 3-0, we beat them 5-1, we beat them 4-1. So we have, got plenty of goals past them in the past, and we do need to do that today to just get that goal difference up, get the confidence in the squad, keeping the momentum, and getting goal difference could be a really important thing come the end of the season if we are pushing through the playoffs. And we want to get into those playoff places, then it's going to be so big. But yeah, hopefully we can get a clean sheet tonight. And Daniel Bachmann is the man that I'm going to have in between the sticks in my predicted lineup. But what is the formation? I tell you now. we could go with a 4-4-2. It's a formation that the new manager Munoz has kind of preferred, really, and I quite like that. Obviously, we played more of a 4-5-1 under Image, and that was a bit defensive and not too good to watch. But I'm going to go with the 4-4-2 because I think it does allow the two strikers to work with each other, and also it allows the fullbacks to push on, Adam Messina especially, but also Kiko Femenia. We know he's got such great attacking potential, and we saw that on Saturday against Huddersfield. Really, really good assist for that second goal, tapped in by Joao Pedro. So I think, backman in goal, and then the back four will go for Adam Messina, and the difficult one, I should say, is the centre back that goes alongside Sierralta. Sierralta's been putting an amazing performance in the last few weeks, and he's obviously going to be in that centre back pairing. But who goes with him? Because I think Cabaselli is out injured. I'm not sure for how long, but he's having some problems. And Wilmot is a player that I do quite like, but I don't really know about Wilmot. I think when he's fit, Cabaselli's our best centre back in terms of footballing ability, and Troost-Ekong has been absolutely brilliant since he's come in. So I think when fit, the pairing of maybe Sierralta or Troost-Ekong along with Cabaselli is probably our best centre back pairing. But obviously Cabaselli's out, and Troost-Ekong, maybe we could put him in next to Sierralta. But at the end of the day, I think I'm going to go for Troost-Ekong just because I'm not sure about Wilmot, and I think that Troost-Ekong was pretty good against Huddersfield, got some good blocks in, so we'll go with that for now, with Sierralta next to him. And then the right back spot, it has to be Kiko Femenia, and it's a difficult one in a way because I do really like Ngakia. Kiko is a quality player, a player who was very much looking like he was going to go to a big team before we snapped him up in the Premier League, and also there was rumours he was going to join a big club when we got relegated, and we managed to keep hold of him. So it was a great steal to do that. It would be nice to see a few changes, of course. We don't want to keep the same squad every week because the players have to have a rest at some point. And it would be nice to maybe see Ngakia get more of a chance because he has been very good, and so has Garner when he's got the game time. When he's playing for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, he can't really impact the game. And I mean, we've seen a bit of inconsistency with James Garner's set pieces, but I think in training he can hit a good one. We just haven't had a player score from a set piece for so long. And I think Ben Wilmot is a player who I do like. He's not as good as I think a lot of people made out, but he's still a very solid option and great cover at this level. So I think he's a good player. On his day, Wilmot can be really, really solid. He's had some good games this season, scoring goals, putting in really good sliding blocks. He just doesn't have his day too often. But hopefully if he gets more game time and maybe gets a game tonight, then he'll improve that consistency. But Kiko is just a quality player. He's a player who really has credentials. But with Ngakia, I also really like him, and Messina is a player who really does improve our team. So it's a really tough one to find a way to squeeze them all in. But as I said, I think I'm going to go with Kiko Femenia in that right back spot. I mean, you could say Kiko should be given a game of rest because he's been really good for us all season. But I just think Femenia is going to be so good against this Barnsley team. And then in midfield, we've got the left wing position. And I actually am going to go for Philip Zinckernagel. Now, we've seen Ismaila Sarr obviously change sides in that last game, and he can play on the left when he's got the ball there. But really, we need a proper left winger, and some people have been calling for Isaac's success, not really because he's not a player that is doing well for us, and at this level you could have said he would do well, but he's just not seeing a run in the team, and he just isn't a good footballer, I'm afraid. Sorry, Isaac's success, you've not fulfilled your potential at this club. And you could argue that he's better out wide and taking on players. He has got pace, it just hasn't got much footballing ability. I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but he hasn't done enough and doesn't fill me with confidence when he plays. So we brought in Philip Zinckernagel, and I think it's about time he started getting some starts, because he's been good when he's played in the FA Cup, and against this Barnsley team, I think he's going to absolutely wreak havoc. So I'm going to go with Zinckernagel on that left hand side. Hopefully he can really show his stuff. And next to him, I've said that it'll be Will Hughes. Now it's an interesting one because we've got a lot of midfielders at the club competing for spots. Obviously, Chalobah has been a player, I think, slightly scapegoated this season, but at times he has put in really authoritative performances, controlling that midfield. But I think it's more decisive of who goes next to, who goes next to Chalobah's place if Chalobah played, and it is Tom Cleverley. So Cleverley's a player who looked really good against Huddersfield. Showing the passion and fighting for the badge is what we want to see. Chasing down lost causes and getting the goal, which really gave the squad a lift on Saturday. So he just really embodies that fight that we've got in the squad right now, and he needs to be in that midfield. But I think Hughes is a player at his top. He really can be a quality player for us. He's still my favourite Watford player, Will Hughes. The way he works for the team, he always gets a foot in, and he's got footballing ability. He can score goals, cut in on that left-hand side, and in that midfield role, which looks like he will be playing with Sarr on the right and Zinckernagel on the left, he can really do some damage. So I'm going to go with that midfield pairing, Hughes and Cleverley, and then Sarr out on the right-hand side. And then who do we go for in the front two? Now, we've had a lot of forward trouble this season, it's got to be said. But I'm going to go with Pedro and Dini, because I just think that those two are the best attacking combination. Andre Gray this season has been a bit of a nightmare, and Perica has been out with injury and out with other things. There's just been a multitude of reasons where we've not had certain strikers fit. But I think Pedro is back to his quality game that we know he can do, and he really is a good player when he gets going. Troy Deeney has struggled this season through fitness, but he's still a player that gets all the squad going, and his hold-up play is definitely very good. He just hasn't scored many goals recently, and if it is through a penalty, then that is kind of his buyout clause, really, because he can get goals through that. But you know, he does really struggle for fitness, and he's getting on. He's 32 now, so you know, I don't think we would have expected much more of him, but he's still an important part of that team, and it'd be lovely to get a new striker in to go alongside Pedro if Dini was getting too tired, because we do really lack a prolific striker that's going to get in behind after a threaded through ball. We need I know it's not going to happen, but we need someone like a Jamie Vardy who's going to run in behind and always get in those positions, because at the minute we haven't got players that are committing into the box. We haven't got players that are really running off the defender and making chances, and that's why we're struggling to score that many goals. But it was good to see us hunting for that game in the second half against Huddersfield, and we need to do that throughout 90 minutes, because otherwise we can have teams that are more dangerous, the likes of Norwich and Bournemouth, that will pick us off and will mean that we can't get in those playoff places. But it would be lovely, of course, to get in that second promotion spot. I think the title is past us now. I hate to say it, and I hate to be negative. It might still be mathematically possible, but it just looks too much of a tall order at the minute. And I think the second spot, if we really, really push and get consistent, then that will be massive. But over the years, that's always been Watford's problem, has been consistency, because we'll play really well from one week to the next and then really poorly after that. But yeah, that is the team I'm going with. Pedro and Dini up top, and we could always just have some good players like Hungbo and maybe even Isaac Success if he's given a chance. I don't know, but I don't think it's likely. But players can come off the bench and really hopefully make an impact. But that is my starting 11. Let me know if you change anything with that. But that is what I'm going to go with for this Barnsley match. And I think it's an interesting one with Domingos Quina, because he's been a really good player for us this season when he's got the games, but he's struggled with injuries, and I don't think he's going to be in the squad for this game. But if he had been, maybe he goes in that midfield spot ahead of Will Hughes. Will Hughes is a player, as I said, my favourite Watford player, but he has struggled with injury, and it's just about getting him back slowly. We don't want to rush him in, but maybe he's had enough recovery time now with Quina out injured. I think Hughes has got to be in there. there was actually an interesting debate about the new Sheffield Wednesday manager, who they bring in, because they, of course, sacked Tony Pulis, and there's talk of Ivic. I know, Vladimir Ivic, the man that really did just have a lot of negativity and changed the formation all the time, wasn't really that nice in training and, caused a bit of a slump for our team. And now Sheffield Wednesday are getting that desperate that they're trying to get Ivic. It's just crazy. But anyway, back to this Watford preview. I don't know about Zinckernagel because he is a right winger by trade. But I think Sarr and Sema, they both like to be on that left-hand side. And talking of Sema, I didn't actually mention him in that predicted lineup. And that might seem harsh because he's been a big part of our side this season. And he could easily play instead of Zinckernagel, because Zinckernagel has still been finding his way in this division. So I'm sure he'll maybe have a bit of competition with Sema, and if Sema is starting, then that's fine. He can always do a job for us. But yeah, neither Sarr nor Sema actually seem to have done enough to lose a spot. You could argue with Ismaila Sarr, it's a frustrating thing with him because sometimes he gets the ball and then he just gives up on it, and you're thinking, go on, you got the pace to burn. You might as well take on the defender, but he just gives up on it early and sometimes just looks a bit dejected, Ismaila Sarr. And crossing is not bad from Sarr, but when he gets the ball, he comes with the ball and sometimes thinks, right, I'm going to win the foul and I'm not going to actually find a different way and pass on to a player. So, yeah, he needs to change that up to his side of his game, but I don't see why Sarr has been awful. He's not been amazing, but he's not been awful. But then again, I would say that Zinckernagel deserves a spot because he looks like a player. If we're going to bring him in, we might as well make the use of him. So maybe he comes in for Sema or vice versa. We could even play Sarr on the left-hand side and have Hughes on the right and then keep Chalobah in the middle. I don't know, but that's what I'm going with for my lineup. So Watford against Barnsley. I mean, obviously Barnsley have got a few threats. They've got the likes of Corley Woodrow. They've got I think Connor Chaplin as well, and obviously in midfield Herbie Kane. So it's a game you'd expect us to win, but with the Watford way, we always seem to overcomplicate things. Hopefully we don't. I think that obviously Cathcart, his injury has been a bit unfortunate, because he's been a player over the years that's been so good for us. The leadership has been absolutely incredible, and he's just been really, really solid from set pieces as well. But I do think that our defence has got the squad depth to deal with this, and we shouldn't be too much in trouble. But it'd be interesting to see how this game pans out. I'm sure Barnsley will attack it from the get-go, and we need to start the game well, of course. But I am confident in this game because our home form has been really, really good, and obviously we got it bang on in our first game of the new year at Vicarage Road. So yeah, I don't know. It's a really tough one to go with. I think Sarr will hopefully do better, especially with Xisco Munoz, because I think Xisco does encourage the wide play for the Senegalese, and I think that at times Sarr can be a frustrating player, but he still is a good one that we really want to be playing most weeks. He's obviously our highest highest record signing, but if you haven't already seen it, make sure you check out the Cycling GK, the classic YouTuber, Ben Foster. Obviously, he's out with an injury, but he still shows the dedication to put out a video of that Huddersfield game, and he was watching the game in the stands. It was good fun. But in terms of this game, I don't know. I'm going to go with a Watford win, but I don't think we're capable of smashing goals past this Barnsley team. I'm going to go for a narrow one. I'm going to say Watford 2, Barnsley Town 1. Hopefully we can do a bit better than that and hopefully keep a clean sheet, because that will be so good for Backman's confidence. But I'm going to go with that for now. And goals in the game, I think first of all it will be a goal from João Pedro off the back of that really good game against Huddersfield. And then a goal will come, I reckon, from, let's say, Sierralta. It's about time he got his first Watford goal, and that will give us a second going into the game. And then late on, I think Barnsley get a consolation back through Herbie Kane, and that wraps up the game in terms of my prediction, my scorers, and that wraps up my preview of this game on Tuesday night for the Golden Boys. So I hope you have enjoyed. Smash a like on the video if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one, which will be a review, a full-time review, not the half-time this time, but the full-time review of Watford versus Barnsley on Tuesday the 19th of January. Thanks for watching this preview, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.